Afternoon, how's it going? United fans, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, 0-0 after all that, after all those chances, all that effort, what seemed like quite an easy win. Talking about it a little bit yesterday, how Watford have struggled the last 9, 10 games, conceded quite a few goals, even Palace had scored 4 against them. Ridiculous. They struggled against Newcastle. They struggled against Burnley. They struggled against Norwich. Norwich beat them 3-0. Man United can't score against them, despite the fact that we've got some of the greatest players in the world in the team, including Ronaldo. So just overall, a very poor performance. And I don't know. Coming onto these streams, I really expected to come onto this stream after the first 20 minutes. It was energetic. It was positive. Everything seemed to be sort of going in the right direction. And after the first 20 minutes, it just seemed to dip badly. So, yeah, I think we struggle for a goal scorer, informed goal scorer. Really struggle with that. I think we've got some fantastic sort of wing forwards, an abundance of talent in wing forwards. But when it comes to somebody who can put a ball away at the end of it all, I think we struggle. I think today Matic sort of helped with us dominating possession. I thought he played really, really well. Something we've been struggling to do. It allowed Bruno to move forward. It allowed Pogba to get a little bit further forward. It allowed the full-backs and the wing-backs to get further forward. He played well and he controlled the game. It even gave confidence to Varane and Lindelof, who moved forward as well a little bit behind him. But we just have no style. We don't seem to play in a way that where you just know what's going to happen, and yet the opposition can do nothing about it but just watch it happen. So what I mean by that is we don't seem to be playing, to width. We don't seem to be playing it wide quickly. We're getting balls into the box. It's slow. We got after the first 20 minutes, it was slow. It was Telles back to Bruno, back to into midfield, back out to Telles, back into midfield, back out to Wan-Bissaka on the right, back into Alanga, back into, just constantly back and forth. There's not enough delivery into the box. We don't play to that style, and that's just hindering us massively. Huge shame, big shame. Arsenal grabbing 3 points in the death yesterday. Man United losing effectively 2 points in that game means that we now are on the back foot and are not the favourites for the top 4 position. Tottenham obviously winning their game against Leeds quite convincingly early this afternoon means they sort of are in the background, but Arsenal with a game in hand and a point behind Man United now are in prime position to take that position, and we just keep getting lucky in my book. I think if we got top 4 this season, you'd have to sort of say that it's more down to luck than skill. And I hate to say that. As a Man United fan, but that's effectively the way that it is. It's we're not relying. We're not dominating games. We're not winning games convincingly. We're not creating chances enough to justify winning that game. I mean, even in that game, I'll go through the stats in a moment. But okay, we dominated possession. We dominated the game. Watford pretty much controlled it, and Ben Foster never really felt like he was tested. When we get dominated by teams, David De Gea's all over the place. He's left, he's right, he's saving things on the line. Foster barely broke a sweat. Ridiculous. We dominated the game possession-wise, but we didn't dominate it in terms of attacking threat. Even at the last minute, I thought Watford were going to score at the end, and it's just ridiculous. And it hasn't been good enough, really. I mean, as I say, first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, which has been a common theme for United, which is odd because last season it was the other way around, wasn't it? Conceding in the first half, coming out and playing better in the second and dominating the game and having that endurance to pass past the 60-minute mark where other teams would drop off and we take the game by the scruff of the neck. But it's the opposite way around. We're losing the game, we're playing well in the first 20 and then just dropping off. Now, whether it's the fact that we're pressing too much, it's causing us to fatigue quicker in the games, or whether we're just generally an unfit team, I'm not sure. But, at this level and the quality that United have got and the facilities that United have got, how can that team be anything other than prime fitness for, a match in the Premier League? But clearly you could see it in the last 20, 30 minutes especially. Players, Pogba, walking, Matic having to come off, Fred looked like he was leggy. Tellers had to come on. It's just players who were like... I know there was some tactical decisions made as well, but, obviously Pogba was clearly, like, flagging. And the guy's, like, got 50 minutes in his tank and he's done, but the guy's got such quality as well that you just feel like he needs to address that. But, yeah, I just wanted to... So, a few little issues and one major burning issue, which I think is on the tip of everybody's tongue, and it's been, people spoke about it previously, earlier on with United, and I think again, it's on the tip of everybody's tongue again, and that's this man here that I've got a picture of, not my guitar, this one here, and it's Ronaldo. Poor. It's sad to say, really. Poor performance, dreadful performance. Seemed half a yard, 2 yards off the pace. I think the Premier League is flagging up some clear issues for Ronaldo, that he's not at that pace, he's not at the race anymore. That he's did it in Italy, slower game, 2 or 3 games in the season might be a little faster paced. Had a bit of Champions League in between, some at a cup game. Not in the Premier League, mate. Even against Watford, you're having to play to your best. That I think the moment that said it to me was when he tried to cut back in on his left. We got a chance. Bruno played him in. He could have shot on his right. I think he was closed down. Felt he could cut back on his left, and I got absolutely red like a buck. Just didn't seem like he'd been at the races for weeks on end. Doesn't feel like he's happy at United. And look, I don't necessarily blame him. He's coming to a tough rebuild club. Whether everyone will accept the fact that I'm calling it a rebuild, but let's be honest. Since 2017, it hasn't improved. The team hasn't improved. It looks worse than it was in 2017. If you look at Herrera there and Ibrahimovic, Pogba playing better than he was, fitter than he was. Rashford just coming through. Some better players in that squad. And I think at that time in 2017, we probably just needed to strengthen up defensively. And obviously needed someone to replace Ibrahimovic. But the team's gone backwards. I thought there were some good performances today. I thought overall, like I say, it was the first game this season I can remember the way we've dominated. We've dominated possession, like we did today. We absolutely dominated the game. In that regard, you're not worrying about what's coming at you. All you're worrying about is when you're going to score, and that was a nice feeling to have for a change, where you just felt like, I'm not worried here. I'm not worried about Watford turning this around and suddenly getting a goal against us, albeit in the last couple of minutes. There was a couple of chances that they had, or a couple of breaks that they had where we had to soak up a bit of pressure, but generally I felt that we coped at the back, and I felt with the fact that we had possession and we were dominating the ball and we were winning that second ball and closing them down, I didn't feel like there was a risk to us as much. And all we were concentrating on then is how to create chances. But that's where we've been weak. We don't play to a style. We haven't got players who are confident in certain positions. At the end, Sancho, lovely right-footed shot, but we haven't seen that enough from Sancho coming in on his right and being brave enough to go and have a shot. Don't care what Bruno says or Ronaldo says because they've made a run and they want a little cross in. You shoot, pal. You've been on form. You shoot. You go get yourself a goal. And if he'd had more confidence to do that more regularly, I've no doubt that Sancho would have been putting that ball on target, and possibly scoring a goal. We're waiting for big moments. We're playing for big moments. We're playing for Ronaldo winning a header at the back post in the 92nd minute. It's not coming. It never will come. We need to be more confident, create more chances. The Pogba chance where it gets dinked over to him from, I think, Matic from distance. But you're putting that. You've got to put that on target. You've got to put your laces on that. Half volley, side foot, or whatever you want to do, and put that on target or put it low. Trying to play somebody else in, trying to be conscientious and play somebody else in, it's just ridiculous. Too many players throwing their hands up. Equally again, Ronaldo throwing his hands up, or players taking shots, but then he's trying a stupid shot back that doesn't come off and he's losing the ball, or he's tried a ridiculous shot or an header that doesn't go anywhere. The man's not been good enough. He was good for the first 15 minutes in this game, and other than that, he was dreadful. Really, really poor. And that's who now we're relying upon, and almost feel handcuffed to play because of his name and because of his stature. He's an unbelievable player, has been an unbelievable player for many years, but this game, amongst other games that we've had recently, has shown Ronaldo to be off the pace and not to be at the races. And I think we need something else next game. We can't start him. We can't start Ronaldo. I think if it's a Champions League game next, we're playing. But Man City, I just don't think we can play start Ronaldo against Man City. I think we need to tighten up the midfield. I think we need to play a false nine and put an extra midfield in that midfield. Play Bruno in the middle and play with a false nine system and compact that midfield and hope that we get a counter-attack. That's the only way we can play. We play Ronaldo against Man City, against Liverpool, against Spurs. We're going to get beat. And that's it, because we're too exposed. And unfortunately, he's not the same Ronaldo anymore. There's a little bit about a rant about Ronaldo, and it's not all Ronaldo's fault, but today he was poor. And when you look at the bench, who comes on to replace him? If Greenwood wouldn't have done the things that he's done, you did naturally say Greenwood. He's not there anymore. Will he be back? Probably not. Not at United, that's for sure. So you worry with Greenwood, and you worry the fact that we haven't got people like Greenwood anymore, that quality coming in off the bench to replace Ronaldo. There's nobody there. Cavani is another 34, 35-year-old player who's not been at the races. I can't remember the game he played, but he started one game before he got his groin injury, and he was well off it. But once again, it's style. It's the way that we're playing to these players. Playing, hopeful balls to Ronaldo, hopeful balls to Cavani, hoping that he's going to get on the end of it. But even today, when Ronaldo got it to feet, he just looked a yard or two too slow, too weak. And yeah, it just disappointing really overall. I fly into the discussion regarding the stats. Let's have a look at that. So, yeah, this was the formation, or somewhere along the lines. This was the starting lineup anyway. And these were the stats. And just look at the stats: 22 shots for United, 10 for Watford, 3 on target for United, 2 on target for Watford. 22 shots, 3 on target. Watford nearly managed the same amount on target with half as many shots, less than half as many shots. Possession, obviously, we dominated possession, as we all know from watching the game. 68% possession, 32 for Watford. Ridiculous as a common saying goes, that you can have as much possession as you want. It's what you do with it that counts. And we didn't do anything really, did we? Clearly, getting 3 shots out of 22 on target is just not good enough. Passes, makes no odds, double the amount of passes, but then double the amount of possession, so that kind of speaks for itself. Passing accuracy was up at 85%, so obviously we were quite accurate with his passing, which is quite encouraging. Fouls, 2 to Watford 7. Felt like Watford made a few more fouls than what was depicted on there. Obviously, a lot less given. Just on fouls as well, I honestly did think the Ronaldo one was a penalty. I think it goes down softly, but I think when you consider the one where the goalkeeper came out, Ronaldo goes down there. That's a penalty all day in the first half. He stays on his feet, tries to get a goal for Bruno. Bruno misses the target. not dogging Ronaldo. I think first 20 minutes, as I say, he was brilliant. He was good. He was flicking things around the corner to Alanga. He created that chance for Bruno. He seemed like he was a little sharper. But then second half, towards it, so once his head went down and he started sulking, that's just when his form went down. The second half, it wasn't really good, and it affected us really. But I did feel like the penalty on him, that defender's come charging in the back of him, no intention to get the ball. He's hit him in the back and he's gone down. Okay, he jumps off his feet, but if he doesn't jump off his feet, what's he supposed to do? Is take a knock into the back of the legs and stay on his feet and ride the challenge when he's nowhere near the ball. I think that's unfair. So, I did feel like it was a penalty, but I don't really want to win on penalties, but I did feel like it was a foul. Wasn't given. Felt like Ronaldo could have gone down, like I say, in the first half from Foster coming out, flying out, and taking his legs. He was fair. He stayed on his feet, and we didn't capitalise from that. Yellow cards, no yellow. Surprisingly, no yellow cards on either team. Fairly clean game. No red cards. Offsides, 2 on each. Sides were pretty low on offsides. Corners 4-3, but obviously we know how bleak we've been with corners this season. Obviously Maguire wasn't starting the game, and that's the only person whose threat we've had from corners, and he wasn't playing. So just overall a very bleak performance, and I think what it showed is, one, I think we lack consistency, huge consistency. Whatever team we play seems to have a glaring weakness. This team had a great capability of retaining the ball and soaking up pressure. He did that very, very well against Watford, with Matic in there providing support with Fred and obviously Pogba. 3 players who, Fred, one will mop up, Matic and Pogba, 2 players who will retain the ball really well, and obviously Varane and Lindelof as well, supporting Matic from behind. So generally, I thought it was a team that were going to retain the ball pretty well. I thought a lineup that was going to do that, but it wasn't a lineup for some reason that was going to create a lot of chances, and it makes you wonder why. I think when you look at like the out and out sort of counter-attacking pace that we had, there was only really Alanga that was going to get forward enough to cause Watford a threat, which he did, and he was brilliant, and I felt like our best player. Other than that, Ronaldo didn't have the pace to get past. Pogba, he's not going to have the pace to get past, and he's going to be sitting deeper. Fernandes the same. Obviously, no need to mention Matic and Fred. So by the time you do get into the opponent's half and they're sat behind the ball, that's where United struggle. We struggle. Man City don't struggle with that. Man City are going to figure you out and playing behind you, and they're going to score a goal no matter whether you sat on the edge of your own box with a full 10 men. So, United don't play that well. The difference with Liverpool is when they move it forward quick, and they move it in behind, and they move it out fast and wide, and get balls into the box. We don't do that either. So what is it that we do? We don't know. We have this combination of retention of the ball, crosses, shots from distance, all sorts of different types, and neither one works. We're not playing to a familiar style. And with a familiar style, you play a familiar formation and a familiar lineup. So that style suits the players that you're playing. And neither of the two marrying up. Ronaldo at the minute is not suiting the general style of the players that are playing. Pogba, Fernandes, Matic, Fred, Alanga, Rashford when he comes on. They like it into feet. They like it on the edge of the box. They like it interchangeable passes. They like, all those kind of things. When Ronaldo's not involved half the time, all these flicks around the corners and stuff like that over in the first half, Ronaldo wasn't involved. And I'm not saying he's a problem, and what I'm saying is the problem is the style in which we are playing. It doesn't seem to be one. So yeah, as I say, disappointing. I mean, just to run through the stats really. I give De Gea a 7, mainly because he didn't have anything to do. When he did, he just did it well. He really had a quiet game, but there's no reason to give him anything less than a 7. He didn't do anything wrong, so I think it'd be unfair to give him a 6. Varane and Lindelof, I thought both got 7s, didn't do anything wrong, were pretty competent at the back. solid, moved the ball well. Were pretty comfortable with any threat that was coming their way. I felt like they soaked up the pressure again. Had a quietish game, but were good on the ball. Tellers, I felt I had a 6. Didn't feel like I had his best game. Didn't do anything particularly wrong, but then again, didn't do what he was there to do, which was trying to create more crosses into the box. Felt like he got closed out a little bit. Didn't have that kind of that edge to get beyond the outside of the opposing fullback and get those crosses into the box. And I think he failed a little bit, and that's why I think we saw Shaw come on in the second half. Wan-Bissaka I felt played well. I think he's getting there. His defensive ability is incredible. There's the amount of times he cut people, cut the ball, cut the breaks up a play from the opposition up. It was countless. His tackling is incredible. All those kind of things. I felt it was really, really good and really, really positive in terms of his defensive ability. There's no doubt about that. And he was getting forward a little bit more. Had the confidence to get forward a little more. But again, we're not seeing those crosses for Wan-Bissaka enough. And again, that's where we're hindered. We have this style on the left where Tellers and Shaw are crossing that ball in from the left, and that's what we're normally seeing. But from the right hand side, we're not seeing it at all. If Dalot plays, we're seeing it a little bit. Wan-Bissaka plays, we're not seeing that at all. And Wan-Bissaka's got energy all day long. He's a fit lad. He's up and down. He's quick. He's a good tackler, but balls into the box are few and far between, if at all, from Wan-Bissaka, which was a little disappointing. But I think overall he had a good game. I don't think the issue was Wan-Bissaka necessarily. I don't think he was the one that really sort of put a bad performance in. Fred was Fred again. Had a couple of decent runs, didn't he? Where he come on and scored the other week. Generally, scored against Leeds as well. And he's played generally okay. Felt he got a little bit found out again today, and that was probably the issue really. And I honestly just don't know what he gives you in that team. Is he the City midfielder? Is he the defensive midfielder? Is he the midfielder that links the defence to the attack? I don't think he does either job particularly well, and he's more of a hindrance in there for the opposition than it is anything else. But he can work the opposite way as well. So, not particularly sure what Fred's doing at the minute. His form seems to be so up and down. And I wouldn't have started him personally. I don't know what the situation is with McTominay. Clearly, he's still carrying a bit of an injury. I know it was sickness against Atletico Madrid, and maybe Rangnick felt like he had enough in his team to rest McTominay ready for Atletico Madrid, than risk him in this game and then not have him for the midweek game. So Fred, I gave a 6. Matic, I felt had a solid game. I felt he was really good. I felt, if anything, he was our better player. And a couple of balls in over the top, one to Pogba, which I felt like he should have put on target and maybe got himself a goal or threatened the goal. I felt Matic was brilliant and seemed progressive. He carried his form on from the other day against Atletico when he came on in the second half, and he was positive and trying to move the ball forward. But his energy just doesn't seem to be, or his intelligence doesn't seem to be matched by the rest of the team. And you can see what he's trying to do. Everyone's a little static. That's just the problem with static. Rangnick mentioned that earlier in the week. It was possession's too slow. We're too static. We don't move it quick enough. That's how you affect teams. That's how you scare teams. That's how you punish teams, by moving the ball quickly. We're not doing that enough. Matic, again, had a good game, and he was positive. He tried to do that a few more times, and it just isn't being matched by the rest of the squad and the rest of the team at the minute. Identifying when teams are in that weak, vulnerable position and pouncing on it. So, yeah, I thought he had a good game. I gave him a 7 anyway. Pogba, gave a 6. Again, good in patches. It seems to just play at Pogba pace and Pogba game. It's like Pogba land. It's it doesn't seem to be aware of the scoreline. Doesn't seem to be aware of the occasion that he's in. Doesn't seem to be aware of the type of game that it is. Maybe it's a derby, or whether it's a final, whether it's a Premier League match, whether it's an exhibition, whether it's a friendly, whether it's whatever it is. he's just playing Pogba get football, and it can be brilliant, or it can be frustrating. And to me today, it was frustrating. Since he's come back from injury, he's been a breath of fresh air. He's been that one dynamic player that's got us from deep in our own half to quickly moving it forward. But then there's times when he doesn't do that, and against Atletico midweek, he got found out because he's playing Pogba football, playing in his own head, playing slowly, and he got caught out by the opposition. And again today, I felt like he's sort of almost doing it to take the mick, slowing it down, trying to outstrength players, hold players off, and it's great. You look brilliant, Pogba, but the rest of the team are waiting for the ball to come out of your feet so we can move it forward. Again, these are the games where you want Pogba to show up. When other teams are doing it, other teams have got midfielders in their squad who will pop up and get a goal or create something, and Pogba's got it in his locker to do it, but unfortunately doesn't do it enough. This is a game against Watford, of all games, poor team, poor run of form. United going for top 4, need a big player to turn up, and Pogba wasn't there again today. Didn't play particularly bad, but he's not carrying us over the line from playing good to top 4 excellent, and that's the difference. And that's a problem I think with people have got with Pogba. No one's saying that he's a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, it's quite the opposite to that. But generally, he's not consistently enough, playing high enough, consistently enough, and winning his matches enough. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing from Pogba. Fernandes, I gave a 6 as well. Similar sort of story, really. Fernandes in his own head, taking shots from silly distances, trying silly crosses from silly distances, losing the ball in his own half countless amounts of times. He's that dangerous and he gets on the ball that many times that he does create stuff, he does score goals, he does create chances. But he's so erratic, and you just never know what sort of Fernandes again you're going to get. Are you going to get that Fernandes who's going to get his head down, not complain, not moan, not whinge, and get on with the football? Or are you going to get this Fernandes that's going to be off form, not firing? Again, I didn't think he played particularly awful today, but again, didn't play fantastically either. So for me, it was a 6. Alanga, I gave a 7. I thought he was sharp, brilliant, running past players. First half, excellent, linking up with players, running past, getting the second ball, 1-2 in, creating chances. He was the reason that we got those chances. Second half, again, similarly, was the same. There was a moment in the first half where he was unbelievable, and then for some reason switched him onto the left. I can't understand that. Maybe they felt like the threat was going to come that way, and that a cross was going to come from Alanga as he's left-footed. God knows, but I thought he was brilliant and excellent in that regard, and really, really, really felt like he was brilliant. Him and Matic really were the best 2 players, and Alanga really deserved to get an assist or a goal or create something for his team. I thought he was brilliant. Ronaldo, talked about Ronaldo, and it's going to be a controversial one, but I've given him a 4, and I've had moments this season where I've done this and I've given Ronaldo a favourable score despite his form because it's Ronaldo, and I'm just not willing to do it this game around. I thought he was, other than the first 15 minutes, was dreadful, was really poor. His attitude was poor, complaining at other players for doing things, throwing his hands up, was just poor to see. Generally, just really kind of poor. Was quite one-dimensional, looked off the pace, didn't seem to have any invention in his game. Just very off form. Classic off form player, but it does make you wonder if the pace of the Premier League now is just too much for him, and is he hard off? Nithal, apologies if I've mispronounced your name. Is it Nithal Sanila? We deserve a win. Yeah, we totally deserve a win, mate. Totally deserved a win today. We totally deserved a win today. I can't sit here and say that Watford deserve it. You look at the stats there. We deserve to win. But the problem is, you only deserve what you create and what chances you give yourself. we didn't score. We didn't score. We didn't put that ball past that white line in that goal. So we got what we deserved. We got a draw because we didn't score a goal. You know, it's not come as a surprise this season that we've drawn that game. The performances generally this season have been pretty poor, and we're not creating enough chances. We're not scoring enough goals. We've had issues with squad rotation with certain players. You know, generally there's been a lot of issues that have happened this season, and this isn't come as another surprise. There'll be nobody who watches enough of United to sit there and say that, you know, we've not. This is a massive, massive, massive shock. It's not a massive, massive shock. If you'd have gone back to 08, 09, 10, and Watford had just drawn to you at home, yeah, it would have been a huge shock. You know, Man United are fifth, fourth, battling with Spurs and Arsenal for fourth place. You know, these wins should be coming for United. We shouldn't be talking about a 0-0 at Old Trafford after 22 shots at goal. We should be talking about a 2-3-0 win here, and yet there's issues in the team that are not causing that result, and that's because players off form. You know, certain lack of rotation for certain players that wouldn't get into any other team. Fred, Matic, you know, even Ronaldo. You're taking him on his name alone now because, let's be honest, he scored some great goals even for us this season, mostly in the Champions League. But the system in which we are playing does not suit Ronaldo with 37-year-old legs. It doesn't. He hasn't got it. The second half, 80-odd minutes, Bruno Fernandes slides Ronaldo in on the right-hand side. He looks to take a shot, dummies it, cuts it in on his left. Defender reads it. You go back 10 years, Ronaldo's cutting in on his left and he's smashing that in the far corner. Or even getting to it quicker on his right foot and smashing it across goal. He did neither. And that happened 2 or 3 times in that game where he got caught on his feet. It's sad and it's disappointing. But no, I understand what you're saying, Sanilla. We did deserve a win. But again, you can only sort of say we deserve what we got, and that's a 0-0 because we didn't actually score. But I see what you're saying. Rashford, Sancho, Shaw came on. Just to quickly talk about those guys. I mean, Rashford came on, did typical Rashford stuff, didn't he? Heavy touches, losing the ball. Didn't seem to make any runs in behind. Wanted it all to feet, like he's playing five-a-side football. Yeah, unbelievable player with unbelievable pace and great shooting ability. But he's wanting the ball to feet at the edge of the box when there's 10 men behind the ball all the time rather than looking for channels. And he's just a kid off form, and he clearly sad to see, but that's just the way that it is. And I gave him a 6. I think that was fair. I could have easily given him a 5. Sancho I thought was good. I thought he was brilliant. Looked energetic. God knows why Sancho did not play this game. I think Sancho plays this game with Elanga on the other side. Matic, Pogba and Fernandes instead of Fred, and we play Sancho on the left. We win this game. Sancho creates something for Ronaldo, creates himself something for himself, or Fernandes, and we win the game. You need to play your players. You need to be consistent. You know, these Tuchel's are saying, these German coaches thinking they're clever by rotating players. It doesn't work. You've got to play your best team if it's available. Fergie always used to say that. Play your best players, your best team if it's available to play it. That was a big game. Big 3 points at a crucial time in the season when we're going to play City next and Spurs after that. Crucial game. And Sancho wasn't playing. Why? What are you resting him for Atletico Madrid on the off chance that we might have a good Champions League knockout stage run and win the Champions League? The chances of that are so slim, it's ridiculous. You know, for us not to make top 4 this season and watch Arsenal do it instead would be, when you look at the two squads, would be shocking. Absolutely dreadful. Sancho should have been playing, wasn't playing, and yeah. Shaw came on, did okay. Watford was sat back on their own half, allowed Shaw to get on the ball, made some crosses, a couple of crosses that were far too deep and lofty. Nearly scored at the end with a free kick. Thought he did score. Thought he got Ronaldo at the back post as well. Did neither. So yeah, just another average performance from Shaw coming on. But Shaw plays, Sancho plays, Fred doesn't play. Do we win that game? In my book, I think we do. I said 2-0 before the game started. Should have been 3, 4, 5, but it wasn't. So yeah, overall, a very disappointing day for United, and a good performance in some parts in terms of the build-up of the possession, but yeah, just not very good in terms of the end product. We go again, guys, don't we? So next game we've got second leg. Sorry, no, we haven't. We haven't, have we? Just looking at the fixtures here. So we've got Man City on Sunday next week. So we've got quite a bit of time now, haven't we, between now and next game. So we've got some good quality rest time now. Full week in a bit, a week in a day, 7 days solid for rest. But early kickoff, 11:30. Never seen an 11:30 kickoff for quite some time. Yeah, so an early kickoff away at Man City. Big game. Not expecting much from that, considering recent form and recent performances and the previous game that we played. Albeit Man City are having a small wobble. So yeah, that'll be interesting. City then Spurs. Spurs up and down, spiking up, spiking down. They're not on a particularly great run of form. The only plus point we could take from that game in particular is that it's that we're at home, and hopefully by that time we've maybe come off as some sort of freak win at Man City. But that's another week's rest between those two games, and then we've got Atletico Madrid. So, I mean, Man City, Tottenham, Man City, Tottenham, Madrid, second leg, and Liverpool. I mean, those 4 games don't get much harder than that, do they really? I mean, other than the fact that if Tottenham were Chelsea, they'd be the 4 hardest games that we'd have this any season, I think. So yeah, really tough games coming up. Hopefully by the end of March, we're not all depressed and pissed off. And want to call it a day. I still want to do these streams off the back of March, considering the difficult nature of those games. But 4 games to prove ourselves. Man City, Spurs and Liverpool. The top 4 by the end of March. It could be well and truly in our hands, or could be well and truly gone and a distant memory and over to Arsenal. But yeah, it remains to be seen. Thank you for watching the stream. I've really appreciated those that have watched. I've had quite a few people watching, so thank you for that. Thank you for the comment, Nithel. And yeah, if you watch it back, don't forget to drop a comment. I'll comment back if I can. And share, subscribe, and like the video if you can as well. That really helps me get this going forward a little bit more. So, cheers guys. Thanks to those who've watched. Catch you in the next one. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.